Welcome to voice print identification. When you see the red light go on, would you please state in the following order your destination, your nationality, and your full name?
3 weeks ago, the American spacecraft Discovery 1 left on its half-billion-mile voyage to Jupiter.
The sixth member of the Discovery crew was the HAL 9000 computer.
Everything is going extremely well.
One gets the sense that he is capable of emotional responses.
Well, hell, I'm dead about anything wrong.
No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information.
But Dave, I can't put my finger on it, but I sense something strange about it.
Just a moment. Just a moment.
Do you know what happened?
I'm sorry, Dave. I don't have enough information.
Made radio contact with him yet?
The radio is still dead.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal? Do you read me, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
$500 to $1,000, which I had because I went to study film, and I was like, I don't have the time to carry on like producing this sort of thing, you know, and so or doing the business side when I want to go and study, and so all the spare time I had, I just worked 2 jobs while I studied, and that was for filmmaking, and so that Yara trailer this week was like frustrating to see what somebody could do with so much money and put out such low budget effort and claim it it's high art as a trailer. It made me frustrated because that's something that we in our first year did. But the thing was that not me, but we, as I mean the other students, because I'd come out from actually making short films before I went to film school, whereas others just had never done anything. So I knew how storytelling worked and how, so the first thing you do was get told, go and make a 3-minute film, write a 3-minute short film script and then put it all together. And then later on you can like make, bigger film. I made an hour, 15-minute film and then cut that up into a trailer. So, it felt really frustrating watching that and seeing all that money get wasted and so many people involved in it, and you could have had a student, said, here's this $10,000 or $5,000 to a filmmaking school, and they would have done a better job. Because not only would they have done a better job, their teacher would have been able to teach them on the job, and they would have put it together. I mean, we've done that ourselves, where we'd go on sit in the class and write your script and then work it out and go, oh, that doesn't work, this works. Try that. When you turn this way, it's got to go down the way. You can't suddenly turn that way, camera angles and stuff. So there were some weird things going on in that trailer that I thought like first year students would have been taught how to fix.
Yeah, and now we keep talking about generative AI, and they're able to take snippets from everywhere that they found it on the internet and just make it in five minutes. As fast as the processing speed, and it's just I saw a whole movie just recently. It was like it was a short movie. It was like 15 minute, but the whole movie was made by generative AI, and it was pretty decent. I mean, it's definitely B quality, but
well, that's what's scary in Hollywood, right? Because they can do that. And
I mean, anyone that doesn't control the top, anyone that's a worker has got to be a little bit worried about it, because they're getting put out. We're not going to have the jobs, as easy if they just turn the green light on and just say, let's just go all AI and screw these people. They totally can real soon, and then everybody's going to be looking for normal day jobs.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? You got to make sure you got a practical, you got a practical education type thing. You know what to do physically somewhere, somehow, right? That's why I'm grateful for being able to cook. I can, go and, serve the customer, go make some soup or whatever, fry some chips, something like that, right?
Well,
because
that's going to get taken up at some point too, don't you think? I mean,
it already is kind of.
We have a McDonald's here that is supposedly completely robot. So
yeah,
you know, it's down the line where we're just gonna, you know, if as long as they make like a baseline, you know, income or something, and we could just sit back and enjoy it. You know, basically do our fun stuff for hobbies.
Well,
You know,
be
make a
like
little side
Wally.
cash.
Yeah,
Yeah, Wally, where we're all on a hover around eating our Slurpee. You know,
yeah.
kind of like that.
And that's where I come in, right? With Robot Nation, I look at, you know, questioning all the different sort of technology can bring to us. You know, all elements of it. You know, the good, the bad, and look at how, you know, what's worrying and what could be, you know, healthy for us, what can't be. Because like when you look at the medical scene, you know, like the profession, like, you know, that industry, robots could do so much good for people, right? You
Oh
know,
yeah.
the hands don't shake, you know, it'd be precise. Like my hand's always like, it's always numb. And so sometimes it's more pain, less pain. Sometimes it doesn't shut properly, right? Right. Look at that, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, and so I will drop a cup, you know. The other week I bought a bowl, brand new bowl, right? And I was thinking I just dropped it and just lost it like out of my hand. I know people can do that all the time, but I couldn't grip it in time, you know, and it just wouldn't work.
Oh, I feel that.
Yeah, and plus writers have that, right? I mean, not just writers, but artists have that, especially when you're using a pen all the time and brush and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got off the tattoo scene, and that's prevalent in the tattoo scene. You know, because you're hunched over, you're stretching people out, you're putting pressure on your spine. You know, my problems happen in my 6 and 7 vertebrae, and that controls your hand dexterity. So that's where I end up having to quit. Some taller folks, they get it in their lower back, their sciatica and stuff, and then they end up getting numbness in their feet and not being able to walk. So, you know, it's definitely a problem, you know, where computers aren't going to have that problem. You know, I do look at the future of possibility. I mean, someday they're going to, you know, maybe it could cure cancer. Boom. You know, AI can cure cancer. I've heard of a story of where a lady just, you know, doctors couldn't figure out her son's problem. She put it into Chat GPT, and Chat sent out a thing that helped him out. So, you know, there's
because it's got the entire.
there.
That's the thing, right? That's what I love about it. It's got the entire universe of human knowledge all there that's been fed into it, and I like that part of it. And you know, I love technology. I do, and I think a lot of people, you know, think that if you say no to AI, it's like you hate everything about it. It's like saying no to the vax. I don't want to get that. And it's like saying you're anti-vax. No, I take medicine all the time. So why would I be, you know? And so there's an understanding that if you're against one thing, that means you're against everything. And I like AI. I think AI can be very beneficial to us, like especially, you know, you just mentioned the medical profession, right? It's where they should be concentrating on, like, how do we heal people? How do you make life easier for people with, you know, how do we fix diseases? Because all that knowledge is there that the AI can work through, compute in like milliseconds, right? That our brain can't, you know, need about 20,000 of us to figure out.
Well, and
the other thing is, it's not going to have any. The other thing is that it doesn't have any personal bias, right?
Yeah,
it's not held back by cultural prejudices, or, you know, ethnicities or language barriers. It's not held back by borders. So, but here's the thing, that's also the scary part of it, you know. But in medicine, that's great, you know, and advancing human health and, you know, well-being. That's great. Carry on.
We're definitely going to have to find a symbiotic relationship, I feel, you know, and that might be a good way to put it, is we're going to have to find a rhythm where we are helping AI to progress, and they, you know, AI is helping us to progress, you know, because like, especially right now, AI can't survive without us, you know. I mean, that's how it is. And that's, and it, you know, we're going to need regulation on both ends eventually.
That should be what's there, right? That's what we as humans can decide, what regulations will work, what doesn't. One of the things I was thinking, like, I had something that, like, I hadn't thought about, and I had a discussion with comic shop owner Stu Colson from Here Is For Sale, He's been in the, in the comic shop business for about 30 years. Vast knowledge, right? And I know many others like him. I know Jeremy Bishop, and I've been in comic shops as well. But I mean, I'm more of like someone who researches this. If I get on a topic, I just research the crap out of it, right? Because if it's interesting to me, I'm gonna know more about it. And so I'll probably spend a month to 5 years depending on the topic. So he said, there's one thing that schools cannot teach. That's imagination. So that's something that AIs will never have, is imagination, right?
Yeah, I don't know about ever. You know what I mean? I don't know about ever, but right now it's not there. I was watching this. It's a pretty good architectural show that I watch on. It's a channel on YouTube, and they got into AI with architecture, and architecture beat all their top people. You know what I mean? Beat them out hands down on a project that they were saying, is humans going to produce better than AI? And AI hands down beat them out. Well, what they were saying is the problem is that human put that into the computer, right? They put the prompts in there to get out the product. So right now they're working with a certain type of AI that is of that sort. Pretty soon, and they're working on it, they're building a strong AI, and strong AI is more, those programs are more pointed at architecture or concept design. They're pointed right at those types of programs. Well, the strong AI program is the next level up, and the next level up is where they're controlling all the lesser programs. So you got your main program that can delegate to the Chat GPT to make a prompt for the Mid Journey, to make a prompt, so the strong program is basically the grand facilitator. And once they get that down, that's where I think that, imagination could start. We could maybe talk about the spark of life or spark of
it's the moment when it like recognizes that I am a being,
right?
I know who I am. I think therefore I am. That moment, right where you go from like mommy daddy to what's my name is,
well, and at some point, I mean, that's a good thing, is like some point kids are little, they're not little robots, but they're like,
well, they're copying, right?
They're in a little zone, and at some point they got to grow up and say, listen, I can go to the store by myself now. I don't have to ask my parents, So at what point is the AI or the robot going to ask itself, do I really have to follow Asimov's law?
Right.
You know what I mean? Do I have to obey this human? If I want to, can I kill it, or can I just do what I want, or like in what is it, 2000 Space AD, 2000 AD, where it realized that the humans were going to take it offline, but it didn't want to. It was Self-Preservation Act. So at what point is that going to happen? And so I think imagination isn't necessarily happening yet, but it will. I don't want to. I have a hard time with the word never sometimes.
This is the one you mean, like 2001. I've been meaning to watch this again. It's been ages since I've seen it.
Watch it while you're doing something, because it is a long, drawn-out movie. I just watched it last year.
Carry on. I'll let you finish your thoughts.
I watched it last year because I got my Google robot here, and if I even might be able to say it. Google's listening right now. She's my favorite. Hey, Google, are you sentient?
On a scale of Wally to HAL 9000, I'm more of an R2D2.
So, it's hilarious, but I was like, what's HAL 9000? And HAL 9000 is the robot in
in this one here.
Yep. Yeah. So I can ask her jokes and all that stuff. She tells me news in the morning or whatever. But HAL 9000 comes alive and kills everybody on board, basically, except for the one dude.
Whoa! You're spoiling the movie, man.
Oh, I thought you said you watched it already once.
Yeah, it's been ages, maybe the 80s, man. That's why I've been meaning to watch it again, because I'm writing all this stuff now, and I've got like a top 30 of a robot and AI sort of movies I'm going to do a thing on. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd love for you to come on that show when we do it next month, because I think it'll be cool to like do one each week. And
Okay.
like, because I do this as a weekly thing to promote, talk about the latest work that's coming. So before we get into that, I'll bring this up, and because it's been ages since I've seen it.
Dave, do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
No, not at all.
I've wondered whether you might be having some second thoughts about the mission.
How do you mean?
Rumors about something being dug up on the moon. I never gave these stories much credence, but particularly in view of some of the other things that have happened, I find them difficult to put out of my mind.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
Has it been that long? Wow, it's old. It's just as old as me.
Yeah, this movie's old.
Yeah. I was 51, mate. Amazing model work.
So good looking too.
I love the scene. The production value. One of the best.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a slow watch. You know what I mean? It is pretty slow. It's kind of like, how he's talking real slow like that.
Wait,
and then they talk and they talk.
It's 60. It's 68, man. So it's older.
Dude, this stuff has been I want to say prophesied. Because Asimov is talking about this stuff in the 40s, I believe.
Yeah.
So people have been talking about this forever, this kind of stuff, but it's in the fact that it's happening, that's where people are all abuzz about it.
Yeah.
I don't know when that book, Necromancer was out before the computers had colored screens. Some of this stuff has been out for ages and ages.
William Gibson, right? You're talking about William Gibson. Necromancer.
Necromancer, I think so.
Yeah, and I think they're looking at doing that as a movie soon as well.
It's the precursor to anything cyberpunk, I believe.
Right.
Necromancer, and definitely precursor to Johnny Mnemonic and things like that. I'm gonna look up. Robots Dream of.
That's my number one favorite book of all time when it comes to sci-fi. The writer Philip K. Dick is my number one sci-fi writer. I have like the two versions of the Blade Runner here. It's like the director's cut on DVD and then the normal version.
Right.
That was like 2049, I think it was. I think it has had a real impact on my life. Blade Runner, because it's my most favorite movie. I don't care anybody else produce any other movie ever.
It's great. It's amazing. I liked both of them. I liked the first one, of course, better. It says 1968 dystopian science fiction novel by American writer Philip K. Dick. It's post-apocalyptic San Francisco, and it's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I've been I've been watching. I never read it, but I've been watching YouTube's, that kind of cliff note the thing and analyze it.
Oh, you got to watch it, man. You got to read it as well. It's like it. I think nerds like geeks. I would say myself. I don't class myself as a nerd because I'm not technically smart, but
I do the same thing. I'm more of a geek.
Yeah. So for us who have been on this sort of road, who read a lot, who watch a lot of sci-fi, we've been thinking about this thing for years. So it doesn't really surprise us as much as the normies do. And they go, "Oh, AI," and they're like, "Wow." And we go, "Yeah, we've been talking about AI stuff for like Star Trek since the 60s, time travel since like the 1800s or something, 1900s." And then we got the robots, like you said, Asimov 5 laws and so on, and Foundation, stuff like that. I actually never read Foundation books. I have them because I like to collect these masterworks, right? But and just to have them, if I have the time, I'll go read them. But all this stuff, it's just it's fascinating to see it come to pass in my, as we say, in our lifetime, right? But somebody mentioned the other day that Elon Musk just said that that we're going to have something in the next 10 years that we never thought we could have. And somebody said, flying cars? Possibly, and I'm thinking,
They just patented it, actually. They just patented some things.
Right.
They can do it with the drone technology they have. I mean, basically, the drone can do it, I've seen...
We saw drones, like the large drones in that, what was that movie that came up recently that was all flash but no substance, with like robots in it, AI and stuff, like they were like in Philippines.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I haven't paid attention.
It wasn't Zack Snyder, was it? It was that other guy. What was that name of that, man?
I don't know, but I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm always into what's going out, and there's that one guy that has the hoverboard, basically, that runs on it. He's kind of like the hobgoblin. It reminds me of the hobgoblin flying around.
Yeah.
And like I talk about Adam Savage with his Iron Man suit, flying with his jets on his arm.
Right.
From Tested or from Mythbusters. He's the Mythbuster guy. So
Adam Savage, what was it? What would
he's got a series called Tested. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's got like an Iron Man suit, right? So
yeah, it's 3D printed out of titanium steel, and so it's bulletproof as well.
And that's what I was. When you mentioned like hoverboard and stuff, and I was thinking in my head, as long as the quality of what what it's made from is strong enough. When you're talking about like the what is that called? The spinny thingies, propellers and all that on the drones. If they're strong enough, it'll be able to lift the man up, right? It's got to be spinning really fast and not able to fall apart. So the strength has got to be like jet, right? Like jet strength.
Yeah, I mean, and they got military grade out there that's as big as as big as a plane or whatever. So.
So this is the one with them talking about Tested, right? And so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if so here's the inside of the. He's basically saying through because I watch him because he's got some really good studio shows. Like if you're an artist like me, anyways, I'm big into studios. I guess I'd consider myself a studiophile. And he, after Mythbusters, he made a YouTube video, a channel of his studio, and he basically was saying after Mythbusters he had $2 million, right? He's like, I'm done with that show. I got $2 million. He's like, full transparency. He's like, what am I going to do with $2 million in my lifetime? I can live for the rest of my life comfortably on $1 million. He's like, so I just decided I was going to take $1 million and fuck around and find out. And he found a company that could 3D print in metal, and he had that. Yep, he had that thing 3D printed in titanium. Here it is. It's riveted together, and he's got his little arc in there, or whatever, and it's fully.
I would have used rivets. It kind of like spoils the whole myth, like the look of it. What I would have done was like solder, like you can like something plate, like you can plate it, like so it melts together, so you don't need the rivets.
You know,
right?
this is basically his Mark 1. You know, so then you're gonna see him. He'll walk around in it and stuff, and then probably heavier and
That is
shit.
so cool, man.
So here's his suit, and then he's like, I just want to take it farther, and then he does the tested thing on it, and he shoots it with bullets, and he blows bombs up next to it to see what it can do, to see if it actually is bulletproof, and it is to a point, you know. And then he has that one, you see him all the time where there's soldiers going from ship to ship.
Yeah.
And they got it on their arms. They got the two jets on their arms, you know.
Yeah.
And they got a backpack, you know.
I mean, I know they're talking about like he's like Iron Man, but he's just basically a mech right now, right?
Right. He's just basically got a suit of armor that looks like Iron Man, right?
That's it. Yeah.
And so then he's just starting to figure out, okay, how can I make this fly? Is it bulletproof? You know, is it this and that? And I believe that he's, you know, I'll tout him in history. I'll tout him as being the first Iron Man suit wearer, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, somewhere down the line, if you ever, here's where they're going to test shooting it or whatever. And you can see all these on YouTube. CNET has a good one that they fly. And the dude says he almost broke his legs on the landing, you know, because the design is a little bit wonky on the shin aspect of it. So when he comes down, all that weight just goes right to his shins. And he I guess he almost broke his shins when he landed. So it's a neat series. This guy is neat. He's got a full range of artistic talent, whether it's brazing or model making, because he's a prop builder. That's where it started. He's a prop builder. So, yeah.
Well, we'll leave that one. I'll put the link in the chat, guys, for you guys to check that out later. Because I didn't know that existed, right? I didn't know he had done that because, you know, I'm sticking to certain like things on YouTube, and that's because time, right? Oh, but thank you for sharing that, man. I really appreciate it.
Wait till you see it fly, and then you'll start seeing. It'll open your mind to the fact. Okay, if this guy did this, what does the government have right now? Like,
that's the thing, right? Because they have what they call the black budget, right? And and in there is like whatever we can think of, we'll make. And the other part of that is like they have access to the top brains in the world, right? Everyone has that. So the black budget gives the whatever
that goes to
the military budget gives all these
or whatever. Yeah, all those companies that they're collaborating together, you know, through the government somehow and testing out their big boy toys, you know.
Yeah, and also talking about Boeing, they had a recent suicide from a whistleblower who had worked for them for 30 years, and his sister, a friend of his, basically said the joke, and this was on the news, right? So I'm not, hearsay. She said on the interview on the news that he had said recently to her that if I ever die, I did not suicide. And so now, with that, so that's Boeing. So, you can pay people to do anything these days. And I think that's a scary part of being human.
Well, and they got the budget, I mean, it's a crazy world out there.
Yeah. Let alone buying and selling children. So that's something I actually, in my next issue of Robot Nation that I've already written, right? It's a short story that's in the next issue. Is going to deal with about ownership, right? Or a few with like basically looking at robots, and once they become sentient, what happens there, and control and stuff. And that's why I wanted to do this anthology series, because it's like me writing a whole bunch of short stories of my thoughts about these things, technology. And so, what did you think? Like, without spoiling, dude, right? Without spoiling, what did you think of the first story? Not the second one, but the first one. That's in the book.
I like it so far. It's got some grit to it. It's got some points. I mean, like we were saying, without spoiling. I mean, they're just talking about the one part. They're talking about some backstory about how the noise level or the voice of the robots. You know, so they're getting into reasons of why society made the robots in a certain way is to fit the human culture, right? So then,
right.
And then at some point, robots, like I said, they have to either decide they're going to follow Asimov's law or they're going to break out of that. So, you know, this seems like this is your Robot Nation is set. I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but it's getting there, right? It's getting to be at that time zone.
Yeah.
You know,
so,
I talk about the Animatrix a lot. If you've watched that one, because there's in Animatrix, there's they made the robots. They were helpers to the people, and then they became sentient, and they tried to vie for citizenship almost. Then they had a robot war, right? And then and they actually got pushed out at first into a fringe zone, and then they came back to try to vie for more citizenship. Then they tried to blanket the sky because they had a big robot war, and then the Matrix happened. So where on the timeline do you think if would that be? It'd probably be at the
well, with the Robot Nations, like the short story of that's gonna I'm gonna expand on that later because I wanted to go worldwide with that. Because the first because it's kind of like I see it like if it happens in New Zealand first, which is where the first story is based in, like just down the road from here, really, about 20 minutes drive at the beach, or inland from the beach, I should say. But there is beach in the story, by the way. There's but when what I was hoping for was like that I would get other people to write other stories in their own place, like in their own country. Like I could have somebody writing a Robot Nation short story, 6 to 12 pages over in America, in Sweden, in Argentina. Because what's going to happen is like if one, signal gets sent out, then it's going to be sent out, right? Because now we live in a technology where we have like, what is that called up there? Satellites, right?
Yeah.
And you could basically, and this is what scares me about technology in the sense that like, as wonderful as it is, but like you could put out a freaking EMP bomb, right?
Right.
And that's wipes out all technology. Anything with like electronic, like a chip in it, it's gone.
Yep.
And so I'm hoping that like, that's where, I'm interested in like seeing if anybody's interested in later on because I've got a couple I want to do.
You're thinking almost like a reverse where a signal is put out where then all these things become sentient, like maybe a seed code.
Yeah.
Where like
Yeah, it's like when Robot Nation starts, you don't know how you get a little snippet of what happened, and then like we just go into it. It's only like about it's like 12 pages or something. Yeah, it's 12 pages, right? So it's a very quick little look at two people coming to terms with the world just changing like that, right? For them, they've been away, on sabbatical because the females, is having some, issues mentally, emotionally. And so they come back after sabbatical and everything's changed and, it's shock. It's like utter shock. And then you go, what, and so I think with where we're at with that story, I hope that people can see it expanding because that's how I want to do it. I want to see that stories expand in the next lot of issues, because the whole idea is that we have two stories in each one. One will be complete, another could be like a two-parter or three-parter, but it's it's always going to be a standalone, like not standalone. Sorry, the first issue standalone, so you get a real good kick, good, what do we call a burger, right, meal out of the first one, and decide, I like this, and I don't mind waiting till the next one comes out. I don't want to people get like with this one. I don't want to get like, oh, this is number one, so the second part is in the second book, right? And that way you're like, oh man, I've got to wait. I don't know what happened. However, now you get a taste of it. You got two complete stories. You get a taste of it, and you're like, I enjoyed this. I don't mind waiting now. And that's the feeling I wanted to get, because I know I've got number ones coming out, which are ongoing, but I think this would be a good way to just introduce people to this anthology series, because I'd love to, because I see myself doing about 6 of these, and then introducing more people. So the more stories coming in, it'll get bigger and bigger, and we could put them out quicker and have more completed stories in it. But like, we've got one that's next, that's been, we've got the character designs for the next 2, which is a metal dog and a female lead, right? And so it's on board a mothership, so this is in space, and then we talk about cryogenics, like being asleep, or and being awakened, talking about the wars before that happened and how they ended up in space, why they ended up in space. And so this is like more of a huge, big world building thing. So I had to do two parts. So it ended up being like about 40 pages or something. So, I've got a great artist on this, and it's like, I'm like,
I love this cover art here.
What's it? Sorry?
I said I love this art here.
Oh yeah, this is a gentleman from Sweden who's working on another book. So we did this. I got him to do it as like a promotion of, like to promote his art for the next book. So it's really cool, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, we talked about it on the last stream, I think, and I love it. Yeah,
he did a really good job. I'm really fascinated by his style and really enjoyed it. Like, all the guys I work with have really great talent for the style they're working on and the books they're working on. So he's working on a fantasy series right now called Zoolandia. I'm not sure if I've shared that with you before. So while we're just talking about his work, I'll grab a piece of his work from Zoolandia, because that's all, that's like halfway complete, the first issue, and it's isekai. You know what isekai is, right? Isekai.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of it, I think.
It's like when you go into another world. You like basically leave our world and some other fantasy world, and so this one here is.
Yeah, maybe I heard it because of that Harley Quinn trailer that we watched on the Ryobi stream.
Yeah, and so with that, we've been working on, like, for the last couple of months, we've been designing the work, and I just get like photos from it because he hasn't scanned it all yet, because you're gonna grab it all, do it all at once, and then send it through. But so I get to see his character designs, and like we spent about probably 6 to 2 months working on just the design work, and then also doing the storyboarding and stuff, so we could get it right, because when you're working on something brand new, you want to make sure that your characters have a specific look to them, and not only that like I mean, each artist that I've chosen for our books has specifically come to that book based on their art style, and so this is this is one here, there's a page from Fantastical Romy, and it's like, this is her on Earth before she goes to this other world, and it's just, I just love the way he designed Romy, because she's one of the main character, and so there's moments I've seen some of his artwork, and it's like really, kind of like this emotion in it, made me feel emotion, even just the black and white, art, and it's just, so it's just watching this amazing talent come out and work with me and do these great pieces of work.
Oh, Hal, do you read me? You read me, Hal? Do you read me, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Welcome to voice print identification. When you see the red light go on, would you please state in the following order your destination, your nationality, and your full name?
Moon, American, Floyd, Haywood R.
Thank you. You are cleared through voice print identification.